Hey guys, so I'm finally doing a tutorial for the toucan. This has been a very requested tutorial. I'm really happy that you guys really like this design. But yeah, so I made this design in like August, well not August, July, but I got busy and then I didn't have a chance to make a tutorial for it because I was making tutorials for other things. But yeah, I'm finally making a tutorial for this design and yeah. So this design isn't too hard to make, I'd say. It's just the attaching. There's a lot of attaching, obviously, because basically we make his body and then we attach everything. The other thing that's a little weird that I don't know how it would work out with safety eyes is this thing I do to get a band around the eye. I only know how to do that with beads, so I don't know how that would work with safety eyes. So you might need beads for this guy. You could try to do it with safety eyes. I just don't know how it would look, honestly. I don't have any safety eyes. So there's that. Band wise, he's not too band heavy. He takes probably around 220. I don't have the color breakdown exactly at this moment. So if you want to know exactly how many bands and like the colors of each you'll need, you're going to want to check the description because I just don't feel like doing the math right now. I have a lot to film today, so I just need to get into filming. But yeah, so all these toucans, as you can tell, look slightly different. With this guy, the only thing I messed up was I accidentally forgot a row here. These are like more of the final versions. So the only difference between this first guy I made and this guy is that toucans, they don't have the color coming all the way out here, so I started to pull it back in. But yeah, that's the only thing I changed between those two. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say, I think. Was there anything else? No. Yeah, I think that's it. So today I'm going to be, color-wise, I'm going to be doing purple for his beak, yellow for his legs, a mint, like a pastel color for the body, and then black, of course, for the rest of him. Yeah, so you're going to want to get your bands and stuff. You're also going to need a hook. I'm using a double-ended hook just because I like this hook. You're going to want beads. You could also use safety eyes, but I don't know how this part will work out with safety eyes, like I said before. So yes, I think that's it. I'm going to just get into it. I don't know what else I could say. And yeah, of course the pattern and everything is... Dropped one of my toucans. Pattern and everything will be in the description, but yes. So, I feel like I'm forgetting to say something. I always do. Oh, of course you're also going to need a C-clip to mark your rows. I already have mine. That's why I always forget to say this. But yeah. So we're just going to get started, I guess. You're going to want to start with whatever color you want for the black on your toucan, which for me is black. So, and you're going to... The first thing you are going to do, let me just make sure it's focused, is we are going to wrap a band 3 times around our hook. So, 1, 2, 3. And then we were going to pull a band through this whole cat band, put both ends back on, and then push the back one over the front one. And then we'll be putting 5 stitches total in this cat band, so we just did 1, so we're going to need to do 4 more. Picking up some black bands really quickly. Also finished showing you how to do the magic ring thing in case you're confused and you're like, what the heck is she doing? I'm just picking up bands first because I realized I should have done that before I started. But yeah. Okay. So, oh, it just came apart. Okay. So I'm just redoing the first step because when I was putting bands on my finger, I accidentally let go of it. Once you have pushed the back one over I feel like the lighting's bad, but I don't know if it's my phone brightness and I just need to turn it up so I can see better. There we go. So once you have put the back one over the front one, we're just going to go back into just the cat band, pull another band through just the cat band, so not that last band on your hook, put the back one over the front one, and then put that other loop over as well. Like that. And we're just going to keep doing that exact same thing we just did 3 more times, so we have 5 loops total. So we're going to go back into the cat band, pull a band through just the cat band like we did before, put both ends back on, put the back one over the front one, and then put that other loop over as well. We're going to do this exact same thing 2 more times, so... like that. So once you think you have 5 loops total, or if you're not sure, you can count them very easily. It's also kind of really hard, I'm noticing, to see what I'm doing because the bands are black. But I want my toucan to be black, so I can't really do anything about it. But you're just going to count the loops. So you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope you can see what I'm counting. I'm just counting these loops on the side. I'm aware this tutorial is going to be kind of hard to see because it's black, but there isn't, like, we don't do anything besides decreasing and increasing, so if you already know how to do that, you should be fine. Don't worry about it. But once we have 5 loops total, and we're sure we have 5 loops, instead of going back into the cat band, we're going to go into the first band, or the first loop. I'm just going to go through. Instead of pulling a band through the cat band, you just, like we were with the cat band, you'll just pull it through the loop. Both ends back on, push the back one over the front one, and then push that other loop over as well. And of course we will be putting our C-clip on this band. Like that. So this row will be increasing everything, so basically what that means is we're just going to be putting 2 stitches in each of these loops until we get back to the C-clip. So this one already has 1 stitch in it, so we're going to go back in and do another one. Like that. And once you have 2, you just go to the next loop, and you'll make 2 stitches in it. So you pull a band through just a loop, put the back one over the front one, and then push the other one over. And you go back in, and you make another stitch. And that's an increase. So all an increase is you just put 2 stitches in 1 loop. And I'm really sorry, guys. It is kind of hard to see. And it is just because my bands are black. I also don't know, we've been having these weird sun problems since yesterday. And I tried to fix it, but it's not really getting better. But yeah, so we're just increasing everything until we get back to the C-clip. And once again, all in increases, in case you're a little confused, is you just put 2 stitches in 1 loop. And then you'll move on to the next one once it has 2 stitches. And once we get to the C-clip, we'll just make a stitch on the span like normal. And then we move the C-clip up. Like that. So after this last row, we should have 10 loops, and it's kind of hard to show you what I'm counting, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when we count, I forgot to say this, you always count the band, start counting with the band on your hook. Okay, so this row will be increasing every third, as well as adding some white. So, I said white. I put white in my pattern, so I just said white. But whatever color you want for this little colorful bit on your toucan, that's what we're going to start adding. And I'm just picking up some black bands. So, like I said, we'll be increasing on the third. So this was 1. This one will be 2. And since we're not increasing, you only put 1 stitch in each loop. So 1, 2, and then this one would be the third, so we're going to do an increase on this one. So the first stitch of my increase is going to be black, but then the second one is going to be the color of your toucan. So, yeah. And then we are going to go forward. Okay, we're going to go forward 4. We're going to put 4 stitches in. Let me just check something real quick. It's just about the color. Okay, I was just checking about color placement. So, like I said, we're increasing on the third, so we're going to do 2 normal stitches. And this will be in your white or whatever color you want for like the face of your toucan. 2. And then this would be the third one, so we're going to do an increase. And just like last time, we're going to start with our toucan color. And then the second part of the increase is going to go back to black. Like that. So what we're basically doing is we're just doing 2 normal stitches. So 1, 2, and then the third one is an increase. So I'm really apologizing for the lighting, guys. Oh my god, I can't put the back one. There we go. This this one's an increase. And then once we get back to the C-clip, which I'm almost there, I just have to do one more stitch. We'll just make a stitch and move the C-clip up. So I'm going to go over what we did the last row in case anybody's confused, because I know when colors change it gets a little confusing, but we were increasing on the third. So let me see if I can show you. So we would do 2 normal and then an increase, and that's what we did all the way around. The other thing is we also added in these 4 toucan colors, and the thing is where I happen to place them, they're also in the same spot of the increase. So like this is an increase, the one, but it starts with black and then goes to the toucan color, and then I did 2 singles, and then it would be an increase again. So I started in the toucan face color and then went to the black. And after that last row, you should have, sorry, I dropped my hook. You should have 13, so if we count, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now we're going to be doing 2 rows normal, so we're just putting 1 stitch in every loop for 2 rows, but we're also doing this thing that we do to make the his face color slowly get bigger. So I'll show you what that is, but yeah. Just picking up a few bands. So, like I said, we're just doing 1 row normal, so we're not increasing or anything, so we're just putting 1 stitch in every loop until we get back to the C-clip. So after each of these rows, you should still have 13. The only thing that we're doing a little bit different is we are adding more color bands. So we'll just do 1 in my black, and then this next stitch right before it would be the blue color I'm using, I guess the mint color. We're going to switch to our color, so this black band is now going to be the mint color. And I don't do anything fancy to switch colors. You literally just start making stitches in the other color. Also, on all the bands last time that were the other color, there's still going to be the other color. And we're just doing 1 row around normal, so we're not increasing, so you just put 1 stitch. It's just we've switched to this color now. And you're going to want to go all the way to the last one with this color. And then on this side, once you get to the one that would be black, we don't change this one to mint. We just start going back with the black, if that makes sense. I'm really hoping this isn't confusing. I'm trying to explain well. And I know it's hard to kind of see what I'm doing, but honestly, this row is pretty easy because we're just putting 1 stitch in every loop until we get back to the C-clip. The only thing that is different this row is that we are starting to do the weird color thing, which we'll be doing for basically this whole toucan, so yeah. Okay. So once we get back to the C-clip, we'll just move it up. Like I said, we're doing 2 rows normal, so this row we're gonna be doing the same thing as last row with the color thing, and I'm gonna explain the color thing again, but after that last row, you should still have 13 loops, so if you count around, you should still have 13. So I'm just going to get started with the next row. So I just finished putting my C-clip on this one. And then on this band here, because it's the one before the mint, we're going to change it to the mint color. And then, of course, all the bands across in the front will be the mint color. So, and we're doing 1 row normal again, so no increasing or decreasing. We're just putting 1 stitch in every loop until we get back to the C-clip. The only thing we're doing different than, I guess, a normal row would be is we're doing color things. There we go. And then once you get to the last mint, on this first black one, you don't put mint, you just go straight back to black. And like I said, I don't do any fancy things to switch color just because I think this looks fine like this. So, yeah. It's so hard to see what I'm doing with these black bands. I'm so sorry, guys. I should have used a different color. Okay, now this row is where it gets a little bit weird with the color switching because... Okay, let me just... Okay, so the band that the C-clip on, technically, because of where it is, this one should be changed to mint. So once you get back to the band with the C-clip, we're just going to move it up, but just be aware you're going to want to use your mint color, I guess, or whatever color you're using for the toucan's face. And then we'll move it up onto that one. like that. So now your toucan should be looking something like this. Also, if you count around, you should still have 13. I'll just count to make sure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now this next row we are going to be doing the same thing, but this time we're going to be increasing 2 on the back. And I don't exactly specify where. I usually just try to go straight across from the back, but we're doing the same thing. And I'll tell you where the increases are. I don't know what gibberish came out of my mouth before that. But yeah. Okay, so all across the front here, we'll just be doing single stitches or normal stitches and all these front loops here. So nothing fancy. And you're gonna also want to be using your face color. And yeah. So we're just going across the front. And then of course once it gets to black, we'll switch back to our black color. And this one will be black. And the next one I'll do single as well. Wait. Yeah. And then on these 2 black bands, the next 2, so we just did 2 single black ones. On these next 2, we're going to do 2 increases right next to each other. So 1 increase. And once again, in case you forgot, an increase is where you just put 2 stitches in 1 loop. And then once we finish with that, we're just going to go back to the C-clip. So we're going to do 1 single black stitch. And then because this one's right in front of the C-clip would technically need to be mint, we're going to switch over to mint. And then of course the one the C-clip on is mint as well, so that one would be the mint color, and then we'll just move our C-clip up. Like that. So basically, after this row we should have 15 because we increased these 2 in the back, so I'm just going to count really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Like that. Okay, I just went to get some more bands I needed. But basically, we're going to do 1 row normal around this. The only thing is we're going to be, of course, aware of where the colors are. So all across the front right now is going to be your mint color. And then when we get to the back, it'll be the black color. But yeah, we're just doing 1 row normal around this, so no increasing or decreasing. We're just putting 1 stitch in every loop until we get back to the C-clip. And of course, once we're on the last mint band, we'll just switch it back to black. So, I'm so bad at explaining today. I'm just picking up some back bands really quickly. So on this side is the only side that, like, when we're in front of the black, we would switch 1 to mint. On this side, we just go, like, the next black band, or the last one, we just start going with black. I just wanted to say that in case anyone's confused on how you do the color thing. If you've made my penguin, this is very similar to the penguin. Okay, it's there. And then, on this last one before the mint, we're going to switch it to mint. And we'll just go to the C-clip with mint bands. Like that. And then we'll just move the C-clip up. So your toucan should be looking like this. And after that last row, we should still have 15. I'm not going to count, but if you want to make sure you didn't increase, make sure just count your bands. Also, just to be helpful, I'm going to count how many mint bands, and then I'm going to see how many non-mint bands. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9 mint bands, and then the rest are black. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 black bands, and then 9 mint bands. Okay, so on this row, we are going to, let me check something. Okay, I just wanted to check something on the color thing because something changes in how we do the color thing this row. But we are going to be doing 1 increase in the back this row, so there's that. And we'll continue doing the color thing for a bit at the start, but then we change something once we get to like the other half, so this row's a little weird. But all across the front here, all across these mint bands, we will be just doing single stitches with the mint bands. Or normal stitches. I've been calling them single stitches more, so oops. But we'll just be doing those across the front here. Just like we normally would. A little more. And then in the back we need to do an increase. So we're going to do 2 single ones, and then on the third one we'll do an increase. So we'll do an increase on this band that is in the middle. You don't have to do it on the same one as me, as long as you do the increase on whichever one is directly in the back, which for me was the third one. And then we are going to, of course, go until the C-clip, but we're also going to start bringing in the black this row. So, on this one that would have been, we would have turned, what do you call it, teal, we're just going to go, and we're just going to do black. Okay, I just checked something. So on this one that we would usually, if we were still increasing the color, this one that would be, we would change to mint, we're going to just do black. And then all across the mint, well, until we get back to this, until we get to the C-clip, we're just going to be doing single stitches until we get to the C-clip in the mint color on the bands that are still mint. So we didn't add a band that is mint this time, if that makes sense. And then we'll move the C-clip up like that. Your toucan should be looking something like this. So after we increase that last row, you should have 16 loops. So I'll count really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you should have 16 loops. And then we will be trying to see where I am. Okay. So we're going to do 2 more rows. Just like we've been doing, but we're going to start bringing in the black. So this is kind of how we bring in the black, but we also do something on this end of the thing. So we're just doing single stitches this whole time. What I'm mainly going to be explaining is the color thing. So we're not increasing. After each of these rows, we should still have 16 for the next 2 rows. I'm just going to be clearing up the color thing. So once again, we just go across the front with our color, and we're just going to stop at 1 before the edge. So on this one before the edge, like the last mint band, instead of putting mint on it, we're just going to put black. And that's how we start bringing it in. Like that. And then we'll just go all across the black, in black, not increasing or anything. We're just doing 1 stitch in every loop until we get back to the C-clip. I really didn't think this tutorial would be too bad explaining wise, but I completely forgot that I was going to have to explain the weird color thing you do. So it's been kind of a pain to explain so far. I'm hoping I'm doing a good job. I hope your toucan looks okay right now, because the color thing is a little bit complicated, and because of where the C-clip lands, it's kind of worse. And of course, in this one before the mint band, we will just do black. We're not going to add another mint band in. And then all across the front here, up until well, until we get to the C-clip. We're doing 2 rows normal though, so we can go past, like, just move the C-clip up, but then just keep doing the same thing because these are 2 rows normal, so we're not doing anything fancy, as I like to say. Yeah. So we'll just be doing mint bands until the C-clip, and that would have been 1 row around, so I'll show you what we are doing. Okay. So we'll just move our C-clip up, and after that row you should still have 16 loops, so you can count if you want, but I'm going to keep going. So once again, we're going to go until 1 loop to the edge with the mint bands. So we're just going to keep going until we get to 1 before the end. So there's 1 mint band and then this the end, and this mint band we're going to change to black. Like that. And now we're just going to keep going around until we get to the C-clip. I'm actually going to check something really quick. Okay, I was just making sure on the color placement because color placement gets a little weird. So this is actually, that was actually the last of our mint bands. So now we're just going to be doing black from here on out. It is a little confusing, but I was triple checking my design and I don't think we do another row of black. I'm pretty sure this last one switches completely to black. Don't. Yeah. Honestly, I really do. Sometimes I feel in the tutorials, especially with color placements like this, I sound like I don't know what I'm doing, but I promise I know what I'm doing. It's just color placement, like with the cow, I had to keep checking because color placement, like you have to have it in the right spot, and that's why I get really nervous about it, but yeah. I feel like I'm explaining okay though, hopefully. But yeah, so now we're just gonna keep going. Okay, so since that last row was it for the black, where the mint bands are, we're just gonna go with black up until the C-clip. So we're just gonna go with black. Like that. Then we'll move the C-clip up. Like that. So we still have 1 more row to do around, just normal, just doing stitches. But the only difference is, since we're done with the mint bands, we're just going to be going around completely 1 row with black. And after that last row, you should have 16 loops. Let me make sure I'm in the right spot on my pattern. Okay, so I just checked, and we do not do 1 row normal. We just finished doing 2 rows normal. I was a little lost, but I'm right. So this row, we are going to start decreasing and closing this guy up. So we're going to be decreasing every 3rd loop. So this one's 1, 2... and then this one would be the 3rd, so we're going to grab the front part of the first loop, the back part of the next loop, and we'll make a stitch on this. And then we'll do 2 normal again, 1, 2, and then on the 3rd one we'll do a decrease, and this is really hard to show you because I'm using black, but you grab the front part of the first loop and the back part of the next loop. And we're just going to keep doing this until we get back to C-clip, and once again we're switching completely over to black. We're not using any more of our other colors, we're just going with black. So yes, 1, 2, and on the 3rd one we'll do a decrease, so front part of the first loop, back part of the next loop, and we're just going to keep going like this, so 1, 2, and your last decrease should be right before the C-clip, just to make sure we're in the same spot. And then once you get to the C-clip, you'll just make a stitch like normal on this and move it up like that. There we go. So after that last row, we should have, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we should have 12 loops. I had the wrong number written down. Pencil. I looked at the number. I'm like, that's not right. Don't worry, I'm doing everything correctly. I always feel like whenever I second guess my notes, you guys are like, oh my god, did she do something wrong? But sometimes I'll just accidentally write numbers wrong. It's like no big deal. But yeah, so after that last row, I think I'm going to stuff him because I'm a little worried that he's going to get too small and then I won't be able to stuff him. So we're just going to stuff him right now. I have cotton. I just dropped a cotton ball. But yeah, I'm using cotton ball today. And you can actually take your hook out to stuff him, and I'll show you how to know which way to put it back in. But yeah, so I'm just going to stuff him really quickly. I've been getting better at stuffing my things sooner. Usually I forget, and then it's like I have them almost closed up, and I'm like, oh my god, we have to stuff it. But I've been getting better about that, so I'm no longer trying to like have it almost closed and then cram stuffing in. But yeah, so we're just gonna be okay. That's enough stuffing for my dude. So now so to know which way to put your hook back into, I didn't know this was the problem, but once I was looming with my sister and I noticed some people don't know which way to put it back in once you take it out. So for this design, it's pretty easy because basically the front goes this way, so you just put your hook back in this way. But if you ever do take your hook out and you don't know which way you're going, you can kind of tell which direction the loops are going in, and your hook's going to want to go in that direction. Just in case you didn't know. So this next row, we're going to be decreasing every other stitch. And then, yeah. So, oh, there's a random cloud. I hope that doesn't ruin my lighting. Yes, so we just did one normal, so the next one will be a decrease. So front part of the first loop, back part of the next loop. And then we'll do one normal. Then we'll grab the front part of the first loop. We'll do a decrease, so we just grab the front part of the first loop, back part of the next loop. And we just keep doing this until we get back to the C-clip. So we do one, and then a decrease. We do one again. We do a decrease. And then once we get to the C-clip, we'll just make a stitch, and at this point we can take it out. So just make the stitch and then take the C-clip out because we're pretty much just going to close it up here. So after that last row, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You should have 8 loops left. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 8. So now we're going to be decreasing everything until closed, so honestly, on the last row, if somehow you had 9 or 7, it's not a big deal because we're just going to close it up. So we're just going to do decreases until we can't no more. So every single stitch is a decrease. And it's really hard for me to show you what I'm doing right now just because it gets pretty tight. So I just did one decrease. The second decrease. I usually try to keep track of how many decreases I do so that way you guys know exactly when I usually close it up. The third decrease, fourth, and I think this next one's going to be the last one. So on your 5th decrease, you're just going to want to pick up your decrease as if you're going to decrease, and then instead of pulling a band through just the decrease, you're going to pull a band through everything on your hook. Put the back one over the front one, and then pull tight. And then we'll just tuck the tail in. So. Also, my family's watching football, so if you hear anything, I hear the football has started. Because I hear my dad being like, get him, and I'm like, what the heck? My family's like one of the families that like to yell at the TV, so, yeah. Okay, but that is pretty much it. So here's what my toucan body looks like. I'm gonna just triple check something because I don't know. I'm just gonna make sure I did this correctly. Okay, I did do it correctly. I'm so iffy because there was one row I was really confused on, but I did it correctly, so yay. Okay, so now we have got to start making everything. So the first thing I usually do is the beak. And I realized, let me get my bands for the beak because I still have them all in their packages. Okay, so I'm going to be making his beak today in 3 different shades of purple. I do think the beak looks best if you do 3 different colors. They don't have to be like an ombre color like I've been doing. You could probably do like, I've seen, I don't know, you could just do like different colors, so that's cute. And I know at the start, I don't know if I told you this, I messed up this guy's beak, and I was like, what the heck, I did him exactly the same. So the bit that I messed up is easily fixable, and it has nothing to do with the way I did the beak. So, I don't know if you can tell, but his beak is stitched sort of towards the top of his face, whereas his, I kind of went all the way down. So that's what you're going to want to be careful, because that's... So we're going to stitch 10 around on the face, but you're going to want to make sure all the 10 stitches are really close together and sort of on the upper half of the face, if that makes sense. So also another thing, because like these little black things stick out on this side, I usually will start the beak in the middle, but there's obviously no middle. So you're going to want to go towards the side that has more like blue, so this will be our middle. And we're going to get our darkest, or whatever color you want for the start of your beak. For me, I'm using this dark purple color. And we are going to make a stitch. And we're just going to stitch a little oval on his face. That is 10 loops in total, and like I said, you're going to probably want to keep the whole beak towards the upper half of the face. So keep it kind of tight. And there's no exact spot I go for this, I just stitch around pretty tightly. 10 loops. I usually try to make the 5th as like the halfway mark, if that helps. So how many are we at? We're 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5 will be right here. We'll have 6 go right here. 7. I'm just counting as I go. 8. Where should I put 9? There's not... You kind of really have to crowd the stitches together. Okay, so I think that was 9. So if you're ever not sure what you're on, you can just count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we need one more. And I'll put 10 right here. Okay, so this one, first one might look like a stitch, but you can tell it's the part we folded over. So once you have 10 loops, which I just counted, but I'll count again for you guys. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're going to want to go into this first loop and make a stitch, and we'll put our C-clip on this one. Oops, I pulled my hook out. And we'll put our C-clip on this one. Like that. And now your beak should look something like this. It does look a little weird at the moment, but we're going to do a couple more rows around. I also realized I took my hook out for no reason. So we're just going to do one row around this in our dark purple color. Or, well, for me, my dark purple color. Yeah. For you, whatever color you chose to use. So we're just going to do one row around this. It's funny because I can literally hear my family talking football in the living room. I don't know if I said this already, but we're just doing one row normal, so we're just putting one stitch in every loop until we get back to the C-clip. Okay, and then usually on the C-clip band, I'll change to the next color. So this is it for my dark purple. We're going to switch to, now I'm switching to a regular purple. And I do it on the one with the C-clip. So what we're going to do is we just do a stitch like normal, well, not like normal. So you're going to go through that loop. And instead of pulling it through just the loop, you're going to put it through everything on your hook. Put the back one over the front one, and then we'll move the C-clip up to this loop. And the reason why we do that is it just makes the color switch cleaner. So now that we have changed colors, we're going to do one more row normal around this. The only thing is now we are switched to, instead of being in a dark purple, I've switched to a regular purple. So, yeah. And we just go around this. After that last row, you still have 10 loops if you count, by the way. Yeah. It took me so long to figure out this beak. I was just not happy with it for a while. And then you want to make sure you go through every loop, because sometimes when you do that weird color switch thing, it's not easy to see where it is. Once you get to the C-clip, you'll just make a stitch and move it up. So the next row is still in the purple color, just like the basic purple color we're using. But this time we'll be decreasing every other loop. I need a few more purple bands. Oops. I dropped a band, but I don't know where it went. So we're decreasing every other, so we just did one normal, so the next one will be a decrease. And then do one normal. And then a decrease. I'm not really showing how to do a decrease because I did it earlier, but if you're still confused on a decrease, let me, oops. Oh god, it's coming undone. But if you're still confused on a decrease, you just grab the front part of the first loop, back part of the next loop, and make a stitch. We do one normal, then another decrease, do one normal, and I usually do the one with the C-clip on it normal as well, so don't decrease on the C-clip. So after that last row, your beak is going to look a little weird, but don't worry, it fixes in the end. So after that last row, we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops. And now we're going to do one row normal around this, but we are going to switch to our last color. So I'm just picking up some of my new color. And we should have color switched on the C-clip, but if we, just because we didn't, you're just going to want to go into the next loop, pull a band through everything on your hook, and then put the back one over the front one. And then we'll just do one row normal around this. Oops. So after that last row, you should still have 7 if you count. I'm not going to count. Now we are just going to be decreasing until this thing is closed. And we're just going to finish off in our light purple. So, yeah, we're just decreasing everything. So I just did one decrease. Oh, we can take the C-clip out at this point. Oop. Oh gosh, I just lost the C-clip. Luckily, we don't need it anymore. Just decreasing everything until we can't no more. So after this one, I think it's it. Then just like last time, you're going to pick up that last decrease. Then you'll pull a band through everything on your hook, pull it tight, and then tuck it in. I really like the color of this one's beak. And we'll just pull it in like that. And if it looks a little misshapen, you kind of do have to poke at it. I'll usually tuck it like down and pull it up. And that usually helps. The end of my beak looks kind of messy. That's usually just the tail band. If you want it to look more like rounded like my other ones, you just have to kind of pull it in a little bit more. Which I'm trying to do. Like if you just pull in the closing stitches a little more, it'll be a little more rounded. Like that. So there's the beak. Usually what I'll do next is I'll put the eyes on. So the eyes, you're going to want to put the eyes in whatever color, like I didn't do it for any of my other toucans, but I noticed it would look nicer if you did the band that's kind of going through the eye in the same color as the thing you're going to wrap around it. And I think I'm going to wrap around purple this time. So I just put the eyes on whichever side of the beak. And I just tie them in. I just realized I went off camera there on accident, but I just put it next to the beak. Like that. There's one eye, so we're going to go to the other side and do the other eye. And I'm just tying it in. I'm not really explaining what I'm doing because eyes are fairly simple. And I'll show you how to do that weird eye thing last, because with that thing we do, you kind of have to be careful with how much you mess with it because it can come off. I haven't had any problems with it coming off with my other toucans, but I think it's just best to do it last when you're attaching everything. I really love how this one looks. He's got like super cute colors. So what I usually do next is I'll do the legs. So I'm using yellow for his legs. I don't know why toucans, I've been giving them all like really random colored legs. Like, well, this one's like an actual toucan color. Same thing with this guy. But I figured he would have yellow legs. Also because none of my current toucans have yellow legs. And the legs are pretty easy. I didn't write down how to do the legs. Let me just check something. Okay. It's simple. So, to start, you're going to wrap a band 4 times around your hook. Like that. And then you'll get another band, double it. Pull this cat band onto that band. Oh my gosh. If they would cooperate. There we go. And then you'll put this back on. So now you have a cat band that's been wrapped around 4 times and then a double band on that. And we're going to do that exact same thing 2 more times. So we're going to wrap a band around 4 times. Double a band. Pull it through this. Both ends back on. Do that one more time. And this is just to make the toes. And I just realized I have my pencil and shot still. And then we're going to chain 5 bands onto this. So double a band. We'll slide everything onto this double band, which is kind of hard to do. So, slide everything onto it. Oh my god. See, you kind of have to hold it because that can happen. I'm going to try to save my legs. Yeah. Okay, wait. I'm off camera doing this just because you have to pull everything on. It is really hard to pull everything onto a double band, but it is doable. It's just you have to be careful it doesn't slip. And this is like the hardest part of the legs. Because you got to pull all these 3 things onto that one band. Like that. And then we'll just be chaining on 4 more doubled bands. So that's 1, 2, 3. This one would be 4. So once you've chained on the 4 bands, all we're going to do is you're going to take a band that's the color of your toucan. You'll pull it through everything on your hook. And then you'll tie this in the front. So I usually go about right here. Just tie it in. I don't know if I should have gone a little lower, actually. Let me undo that. Go a little lower. And also, I probably should have done it in the toucan color. So if you did the wrong color like I did, you just stick your your hook through the top of the leg. Oh my god, it got blurry. There we go. Black band. And then I'll go a little lower. So I'm going to go right here. And then attach the leg. Hide the tail. Like that. And then to make it look folded like this, all you're going to do is you're going to go through that first doubled band we did. And you're just going to pull on it like this. Just to make it kind of go like that. So we're going to want to do the exact same thing one more time. I'm gonna go off camera to make the leg just because it takes a second and doubling bands on camera isn't fun. So I'll come back once I've done the other leg and attach it on camera, but just rewind if you're confused on how to do the leg. Okay, just wanted to remind you with your second leg, don't forget, don't do the toucan color, do a black band. And we just attach it in. I usually like putting the legs towards the front. Tie it. Hide the tail. I'm trying to stay on camera, but it's kind of really hard for me to see. And then, of course, in case you were confused on how to do the leg, you're just going to want to go into that first doubled band that has the toes on it. You're going to want to go through half of it. Or, like, right through the middle of it. Not like that. Right through the middle of the whole thing. Oh my god, why aren't you? There we go. Right through the middle of it. And then you just pull upward on it a little bit. Don't pull too hard. And it'll just make the toes go up. Like that. So all we have left to do now are the tail, the wings, and then the little hair floofy. And of course the eye thing. So we're almost done. What do I want to do next? I think I do the hair floofy thing next first. So what we're going to do is we're going to get, I'm just counting how many bands I did last time. So what you have. We're going to get 3 bands. We're going to just set them all on our hook. And then put your finger over it so you're like holding them. We're going to get another black band. We're going to pull it through these bands and make a slip knot. And then pull tight. And this is of course going to be the hair, so we're just going to go to the top of his head. And it's funny because the cat band actually isn't, it's so hard to see. Black bands were a bad decision, but you're just going to want to go to where you feel like the top of his head is. And it's actually not usually the cat band, it's usually like a little in front of the cat band. And you're just going to get the bottom of the slip knot band. You pull it into his head. And then he has these little hair floofies on top. Mine look crooked for whatever reason. I'm sorry I keep going off camera, but I'm going to leave them sticking out this much. Usually I'll pull them in a bit more, but once you have the hair floof where you want it, you just get a pair of scissors and then you'll just cut these bands like that. His hair is really tall, but that's the basic idea. So I think we'll do the tail next. I usually do wings last as well. So the tail looks like this. I'm just trying to show you because you kind of have to eyeball where the tail goes. And we start with this middle flap. So wherever you want these top flaps, you're going to have to put this a little lower than that. Just keep that in mind. So I'm going to go to the back of my toucan, and there's all these fuzzies. But we're just going to go to the back. And I want my 2 flaps to be like right here, so the upper ones. So my lower one's going to have to be right here. And then what we're going to do, once we found the spot where we want to put our lower part of the tail, so it's this one, we're going to chain on 3. Loops. So 1, 2, and then 3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull another band through, make a stitch, and then you just kind of let this hang. As long as you don't pull on it, it should be fine. And then what I do is I'll go into... Oh, you guys really can't see, I'm sorry. We're going to go into part of the toucan, like right where we started chaining on, and we're just going to make a stitch. And then we're going to start making stitches in these loops. So we're going to put 2 in the first part of the chain. Sorry that you can't see. We're going to put 2 stitches in the first part of the chain. And then after we've done that, we're going to move up to the next part of the chain. You're going to want to make sure that loop on top stays. Mine just came undone. You could also put a C-clip on the end, that might help. But if it does come undone, just redo it. You're going to want to pull that band on top a little tighter, just so it can hold while we go up the tail. Let me get more black bands. Okay. So I've put 2 in the first chain, and then the next chain we'll put 2 as well. Okay. So we're just putting 2 in the next chain, and I'll show you what it looks like right now, just so you can see what I've done. So what I've done, you can see when I hold it like this. There's 2 in the first chain, 2 in the second chain, and then that one we stitch at the bottom. And then this top chain we're gonna put 5, but we already have 1, so I'm just gonna do 1 stitch. And then I'll loop on this guy, just loop it in, and then we'll do 3 more after that. So that was 1. I'm trying to stay on camera, I'm so sorry. 2 and 3. And now we're going to go back down the other side of the chain, and on these next 2 chains, oh my god, it's so hard for you to see. So I just did 5 in this top one, and then there's 2 on this side, 2 on this side, and we're going to put 2 on this side and 2 on this side. 2 stitches. And then we'll just tie it into the toucan, so it's not too bad. And I'm sorry it's so kind of hard for you guys to see, but it's just the lighting right now. And the fact that I'm using black bands isn't helping. It's actually not the lighting, I think it's more the fact that I'm using black bands. So yeah, but we basically just chained on 3 and kind of just went around the chain in case you're completely lost and you want your toucan to still have a tail. That's what I'm doing. It's just kind of really hard to see. But yeah. Like that. So once we have gone around this, let me see if I can get it to focus. That's as much focus as we're getting. Okay, you should have done 2 on this side, 2 on this side. Ooh, I saw a bug. That was so weird. I saw a bug, but I don't know where it went. But yeah. So 2 on this side, 2 on this side, 5 on the top, and then 2 on the side and 2 on this side. And then once we finish that, we're just going to go into the toucan and then tie it in. So you just pull the band through everything on your hook and slip knot. And then tuck it in. Okay, so that's the longest flap. The next 2 flaps are a little shorter, and I usually just kind of let it curl because I like it to look like that. So let's do the next 2 flaps. They're done basically in the same way, it's just they are 1 loop shorter, and they're on either side. I feel like my voice is starting to go, because, I don't know, I think it's a mix of like allergies plus how much I've been talking the past hour. It's just making my voice kind of feel like it's going. Okay, so I have this tail here, and I want my next part of my tail to be slightly above that and to the either side of it. So I'm going to go right there, and then I'm going to chain on 2, so 1, 2, and then, okay. And then we're going to do the same thing where we make a stitch at the top of this, and we pull it a little tighter so it stays. So just pull it a little bit tighter. Not like slip knot tight, just tight enough. And then, just like last time, we'll go into part of the toucan. I actually usually hold on to this with my other hand. Make a stitch in part of the toucan, and then we'll start going up the chain. So you go in part of the toucan, and then we start, oh my god, I feel so bad because the lighting's just not happening. And then we start going up part of the chain after you've made your first stitch in the toucan. So we'll put 2 in the first bottom part of the chain, just like last time. Oh, okay, that kind of works if I hold it on my finger so you guys can see better. So there's 1, and then we'll go back in and do another one in this first part of the chain. And then once you get to the top loop, just so that way this one doesn't come off, so I just did 2 in this bottom bit, so you can see there's 2. And then once we get to the top one, we're going to want to get that loop that we had just holding on, just add it in, and then add 4 more loops into this top bit, so we have 5 total. So this would be 2. I'm sorry you guys really can't see, but I don't know how to show you. I'm hoping my explaining is enough. 3, 4, and then 5. So once we have 5 loops total in the top, we're going to do 2 in the, so there's 5 in this one. We're going to do 2 in this one, and then we'll attach to the toucan. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. But we are almost done. After this, he just needs his little wings, and that's it. So we're going to do 2. So it's 1, and then 2, and then we'll just attach him to the toucan. Like that. Hide the tail, and then we'll do the other half of the tail. Okay, so far he has 2 flaps, and then we're just going to do one more over here, and then it's just the wings and the eye thing. I keep nearly forgetting the eye thing. Okay, so this is exactly the same thing we did last time. So we're going to go in a little above, usually where the bottom part of the tail is, just because I like to make it a little higher. Chain on 2, so 1, 2. Make a stitch at the top of this one, pull it a little bit tighter so it stays, and then we're going to go back down into the toucan, make a stitch right at the bottom of the chain, and then we're going to start going up the chain. Oh my god, it's so hard for you guys to see. We're going to start going up this chain, so we're going to put 2 in the first half of the bottom loop. So 1. Black really was not a wise color decision. 2, but I'm hoping you guys can figure out what you're doing by looking at your toucan. And then once you get to this top loop, if you made it a little tight like I did, you can loosen it just by pulling on that. Actually, I made my loop facing the wrong way, so I might fix that. But yeah, you could just loosen it by pulling on this band, but I made my loop face the wrong way, so I'm just going to flip it really quickly. So I flipped it, and then once you connect this band that we had holding on to the top here, you're just going to do 4 more, so there's 5 total at the top. So it's 2, 3, 4, and we're going to do 1 more on this top one. 5. And then in this bottom one right here, we're going to put 2 on this side. And then we just tie it into the toucan. So 1, 2. Gosh, I'm trying to show you guys what I'm doing. 2, and then I don't know if focusing helps. It really does not. And then we're gonna go into the toucan, and we're just gonna tie the tail down and hide the tail. Like that. And after that, you should have your toucan should have a tail that looks fairly decent. I think I made my dude's tail a little high, but I think it still looks cute. So, now the wings. Okay, so the wings are pretty simple. And hopefully you'll be able to see better for the wings. I'm sorry, but apparently black on black does not mix, and you guys can't see anything. So, I usually put the wings about right here, and I'm just going to go through part of it, part of the toucan. Oops. Chain 1 black band on, and then we'll put 3 stitches in this black band, so just pull another band through, make a stitch, then make 2 more stitches, so we have 3 total in this thing we chained on. Like that, and then you're just going to tie it into the toucan. So we just pull a band through everything on our hook. Well, we go through part of the toucan and part of the, and then we pull everything, band through everything on our hook. And then we'll hide the tail. Like like that. And there's one wing, and we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side, so if you're confused, I'll show you again. We'll just go through part of the toucan, go right here. It's part of the eye band. There we go. We'll just chain one on, and then we'll be making 3 stitches in this chain. So 1, 2, and this last one will be 3. So 3. And then once we've done 3 stitches, we're just going to go in through part of the toucan, somewhere by the arm, and then pull a band through everything on our hook, and then make a slip knot and pull it tight. And tuck the tail in. Like that. So at this point, the toucan is pretty much done. If you have safety eyes, I'm not sure how you're going to do this last step. That to me really makes it look like a toucan. I feel like I made my dude's arms too high. I usually put him a little bit lower than that, but I still think he looks cute. Yeah. With the beak, you literally just have to kind of force it to go up like that. Yeah, it kind of just has to do it on its own. But the last step, which is just wrapping that band, this band I have around the eye, is a little interesting. So what I do is I'll go right under where the eye is. So I'll just go right here, and I'll make a stitch very kind of loosely, and I'll tuck the tail in. You have to tuck the tail in before you do this next step. And then what I do is I get this part of the band, this across bit, and you're going to want to hold the bottom part, and you just drag it over the eye. So you kind of pop the eye through part of that band, and you have to pull on the eye really more, like that. And if this band that's around the eye is loose, it's because you need to pull on the bottom bit. Like, yeah, mine's coming undone. So you have to hold the eye and basically go like that. And this is kind of hard to do, but it's the only way I found to put a band around the eye, and believe me, I tried just like wrapping the band around an eye, and that didn't work out very well. So this is the best way to do it. And then you'll have something that looks like that after. We'll just do the same thing to the other side. So once again, you're going to want to make a stitch right under the eye, so right there. Make a stitch. And I mean, you don't have to tuck it in, but you're going to want to hold on to this bottom part. Get this middle loop and drag it over the eye. You're going to want to drag it over the whole stitch and everything like that, and then you'll just tuck bottom part of this in like that. This one, for whatever reason, that under band is kind of really showing, but that is how I do the eyes. Just like that. So anyways, that is it for your toucan. I hope he turned out okay. I hope you like him, and I can't wait to see if you make a toucan. Definitely share it with me. Tag me on Instagram in your photos, or, you know, you can always just send it to me. But I hope it turned out okay, and I hope you like this design. And I hope I did the last part explaining well. I'm really worried because it was pretty dark. That's because of the black bands. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me. I have a couple more tutorials I plan on making. And yeah, I hope your toucan came out just like your expectations, because I know a lot of people really wanted this design, and I hope you're happy with it. But I'm gonna go, so bye.